recording a quick story about the inner council. The inner council is the council inside your brain, my brain, all humans' brains, and it consists of 4 council members. There is the lizard, the mouse, the chimp, and the owl. Now, neuroscience and biology and anatomy have shown us that there are distinct regions of the brain. And so these roughly correspond to the following regions of the brain. The lizard is the brain stem. The mouse is the, I can't remember at the moment. That's why it's important that you have the mnemonic and stuff. Basal ganglia, maybe. And the chimp brain, what's the next larger structure? Can't think of it. And then the owl brain is the prefrontal cortex. So, generally, I'm driving a car right now, right? So all 4 parts of my brain are working simultaneously. My mouse brain, which is responsible for habits, and it can do habits loops. It's a very small part of my brain. That is doing the lane centering right now. It's also monitoring acceleration and things like that. Of course, there's also my chimp brain, which is measuring basically social connections. So I'm looking, to see others. Others are driving cars past me. There's those in front of me, those behind me. Also interacting with the video as well, trying to do eye contact from time to time with the camera so it looks like I'm actually engaged. There is the owl brain, which is able to do some predicting, and it is able to show a picture to the other 3 about what is going on, and that influences the other 3, the lizard, the mouse, and the chimp. And the lizard is the one that just gave me a little shiver when that Jeep passed me at high speed, leaving me not a lot of space on the right-hand side there. So the inner council is 3 aspects of you, and those aspects come out. They can be working separately, like they are. I mean, they're working kind of harmoniously right now with me, because I'm able to drive the car, monitor around me, record this video, compose what I'm saying in real time, and all those parts of the brain are functioning simultaneously in humans and probably many other animals with that are larger, like us, with larger brains. And I don't know where the cutoff would be. In any case, so we have the 4 regions of the brain. That's our inner council. So let's go through them one at a time. Number 1, the lizard brain. So the lizard brain, that is basically the brain stem. It could be called the fish brain, the lizard brain. It's ancient evolutionarily. It is what protects us. It's always on alert for whatever might hurt us. It's seeking homeostasis, safety and calm and peace, but it's also ready to respond instantly, obviously instantly, because it keeps us safe. It keeps all animals safe. It was able to see that car was turning and responded. It was more habit brain that did the response on applying the brakes, but that sort of thing. The mouse brain is all about habits. So I'm going to stop for a second, so that's okay. The mouse brain is all about habits, any sort of little habit loop. And I'm not talking about practices here. I'm talking about a habit that's unconscious. I'm talking about the habit cycle, where there's a cue, there's a response, and then there's a reward. Normally this is mediated by dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter, whereas the lizard brain primarily is mediated or interacts with serotonin and cortisol. Cortisol being the stress hormone, serotonin being like the energy or anxiety chemical. So then we've got the chimp brain. The chimp brain goes back historically to, after the dinosaurs were gone, after, our ancestors were able to, start to compete for food and grew larger, and their brains grew larger and everything. And eventually, all the mammals from that are here. And birds evolved along sort of a similar path. But the chimp brain is all about social. And humans, chimps, primates in general are extremely social, successful because of the social aspect. So what chemicals does that refer to? So that specifically is oxytocin. Oxytocin can be considered like the love or bonding chemical. Really, it's a lot about closeness and proximity and perhaps grooming, physical touch, those sorts of things. One of the chemicals is escaping my mind at the moment, but there's 5 primary chemicals that these 4 council members interact with. Okay, the owl brain. So what does the owl brain do? Well, the owl brain is the prefrontal cortex. Its role, or what it does, you can think of that to a certain extent as the consciousness, although we could go into that more later. The owl brain is really, it is considering the future and the past, and it's able to paint a picture for the chimp brain, the lizard brain, and the mouse brain so that they respond appropriately. So let me give you an illustration. Imagine yourself as a youngster, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years old, maybe younger, and you're living in a place where there's nature outside. You're out on your own, and you see this bush, and this bush has these red berries, and you're like, maybe you're feeling hungry at the moment, so your lizard brain is saying, go eat, right? Because it's food. And let's imagine there's some birds or squirrels or chipmunks or something that are also eating from the berries on this bush, something like that. Maybe it's just birds. Let's just say it's birds. And there's also then your chimp brain, which is like, look, other people are eating, others are eating. And your chimp brain might be like, okay, let's go. Habit brain is like, yeah, I understand this. This is just, cyclical, moving my hands. I'm going to be picking stuff up and eating. So it's very, very, you've got three, the inner 3, the ancient 3, I guess you could call them, are moving you forward to pick that berry, pick those berries, and have a taste. Okay, well, that's not the only thing going on, right? Because in an instant, not an instant exactly, about a half a second, 500 milliseconds, half a second, your owl brain instantly is pattern matching. It pattern matches anything that looks familiar, similar. It tries to match it. I mean, it's always trying to do this. Our brains are pattern matching machines. People have said, scientists have said. So we see that red berry bush and we're like, wait a second, I've seen that bush before. Hey, I saw it with the fox. Hey, the fox was laying down not long after at the berry bush. I think the fox was eating from the berry bush. The fox got sick afterwards. If we eat those berries, we're going to get sick. And that image, the image of self getting sick, replaces the image of, walking forward and getting those berries. So in that way, the owl brain can protect the self, which is the inner council, the person, yourself, myself. So that's one example. That's how the inner council works together. Second story. Again, meant to be a sticky story that you can tell to, anybody, tell to kids, tell to family. A little bit later, let's imagine back in time. Let's go back in time 10,000 years, 20,000 years, or even not that far. Maybe we're back in the Americas, so to speak, 500, 800 years ago. or just out, maybe we're out in California. We're living with part of the world with our family and our community. So we're out, we're kind of lost and a little bit worried, anxious. We're on our own. We're looking for, food, hungry, and we see this this fire, and we're like, okay, fire, yeah, I know what that is. And we see some people gathered around the fire. I'm like, okay, yep, I see those people. And we get this odor of roasted, like, almonds or hazelnuts or something. And we're like, ooh, yeah, that's good. I want that. So what's the wants that, right? The odor, that's going to come in, and that's going to motivate probably lizard brain, which is instinctual. We're feeling hungry, which is, probably lizard brain as well. And in coordination with the body. And chimp brain, of course, is like, hey, there's people. We haven't seen people in a while. We should go engage with them. And mouse brain's like, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, I know. Eating, walking over there, no problem. We're going to do it. We can say something to them. So, again, the ancient three are like all go, 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 go. And owl is like, wait a second. Look at them. They don't smile. They're not laughing. And you see those things over there? Those sticks with the pointy tips? Those are spears. And remember when the elder back in our community told us about the bone eater tribe and told us the story of the bone eater tribe? This here reminds me of that. And so instantly, this is like in half a second. That's about how much it takes time. It actually physically, our brains are physical things. Molecules have to move around. Electrical signals have to move around. In that half a second, that can come to mind. And to get technical, what this does is it can basically say stop. It can say stop to the other three. And the other three will stop if the image is vivid enough. Okay, so we're imagining the story that the elder told us, that we're remembering the story. And this story feels like that story. So owl can say stop to things. That's kind of the limit, but can also paint a future. So in this way, in this story, we learned that the council and the owl can protect the council, the family, so to speak, from danger. Okay? All right, last story. It's sometime later, maybe a year or two later, some point in childhood though. And again, out on our own, maybe not out on our own, but away from family and friends a bit. We happen to see some water, a pond. We walk up to the pond. We look in the pond, and all of a sudden there's somebody in the pond, and we're like jumping back. We saw a face, like it was just appeared out of nowhere. And Chimp's like, oh, cower back, this is a stranger. And we don't know that person. We've been with our family and community for our entire lives. We don't know that person. And Lizard Brain's like, watch out. We don't know what it is. It was a lot of movement. It was fast movement, in which case Lizard Brain is going to jump back, right? And Mouse Brain Habits is probably going to respond with like cowering back or something like that. Sorry to move the camera a little bit. But Owl Brain's like, wait a second. Okay? let's just be cautious and be curious. Take a look. So looking in, and there's the face. And again, this is pre-industrial, right? The story is set pre-industrial. So Owl says, "That's us. That's us right there," and explains that's who we are. And Chimp touches the face and sees in the image, in the reflection, the reflection touching its face, and in that way the council realizes that together that we're actually together inside the one person. Okay, so those are the three core stories that go with the inner council. So loop around again. We have the lizard brain, which is the brain stem, and the brain stem is keeping us safe. It's instincts. Is it basal ganglia? I can't remember. I should have studied my brain parts earlier. It's instincts, like actual instincts, like fight or flight or hide, like instincts, and like the most basic functions of the self, the staying alive sorts of things. The mouse brain is all about patterns, repeating patterns, remembering patterns, like paths, things, ways to do things, how to walk, how to talk, how to move one's hands, how to drive a car, once you learn, lane centering, accelerating, all these sorts of things. Chimp brain is all about emotions. So anything that's an actual emotion, it could be anything related to others, like, am I part of this group? Am I not part of this group? Are people angry? Am I angry with someone? Am I happy with someone? Am I attracted to someone? All those sorts of things are emotions, separate from instinct being like a separate thing. And this is about growing up for 1 million years or more in a community of our ancestors. Our ancestors succeeded because not they were individuals, but because they made a living together as community. And then owl brain, prefrontal cortex, that's the one that's able to look into the past. It's able to pull up that image quickly, based on experience, based on stories. It's also able to visualize the future, like what might happen to us. And that can happen in a snap instant. Now the inner council has one more layer, so not to belabor this, but it's kind of a interesting observation. There's also what's called the sage. The sage though isn't always it's not like we can always access the sage, but the sage is watching everything. The sage is like the viewer in the movie theater, right? So the film already exists. The whole film already exists, and the sage is kind of watching and seeing what's going on. And that basically is the story of the inner council. So again, it's a helpful model, I think. I have high school students, I have teenagers myself. It gives the brain 4 different levels of reasoning and thinking. It helps to explain how we can do the things we do. I think it's more interesting than Freud's id, ego, and superego, because that's only really 3 divisions. Although there may be, clearly we could map them onto one another. It's a little more interesting than the good angel on a shoulder and the bad devil on the other shoulder, why we do things. The goal is to help people understand not only why they make decisions, but why others make decisions. So there you have it. The book I'm working on is titled The Inner Council, and it's intended for teens and adults. But I'm also having a thought that, because it goes into much more detail, and it has this, the book has it has these various different quizzes you can take to figure out a lot about your inner counsel. And not just that, but all sorts of why you make the decisions you do, and if you're hoping to change or improve, how to do it, and how to understand other people as well. And it connects, today I worked chapters on how it relates to love language, attachment theory, Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, some of the more scientific side. I think, what's the other? There's a framework that psychologists typically use. And, right. So, all right. Thanks for joining me. I'm working on the book. I'm hoping to work on the children's book version for just the story that I told you, because I think that could be easily illustrated and then later made into an animation. I hope you're doing well today, and I will see you in the future.